this object may be as old as 140 million years.
What if the history books got it wrong? Imagine you stumble upon a perfectly formed hammer, the kind you might use in your garage, buried deep beneath layers of rock. Even weirder, what if scientists dated it to millions of years ago, a time when humans weren't even supposed to exist? Unearthing the unexplained. The history of our planet is a vast and complex story, written not just in dusty textbooks, but in the very stones beneath our feet. However, this story sometimes throws out unexpected plot twists in the form of archaeological mysteries, artifacts that seem to defy what we know about the past. So how does modern science approach these enigmas? The first step lies in meticulous excavation. Archaeologists employ a variety of techniques depending on the site and the suspected age of the artifacts. They might carefully brush away dirt with soft tools, use pressurized water jets for deeper layers, or even employ high-tech laser scanners to create 3D models of the excavation area. Every step is meticulously documented, ensuring the context of each discovery is preserved. Once unearthed, the artifacts undergo a battery of tests to determine their age and composition. Radiocarbon dating, a technique that measures the decay of radioactive isotopes in organic materials, provides a reliable estimate for objects made from bone, wood, or textiles. For inorganic materials, scientists might use luminescence dating techniques that analyze the light emitted by minerals when exposed to specific wavelengths. These techniques allow researchers to pinpoint the time frame within which the artifact was created, offering a crucial piece of the puzzle. However, science isn't perfect. Radiocarbon dating, for instance, can be skewed by factors like contamination or the presence of marine materials. Similarly, interpreting the function and purpose of an artifact can be challenging. A smooth, metallic sphere might be a sophisticated astronomical tool from an unknown civilization, or it could be a naturally formed concretion. Here, the detective work begins. Archaeologists draw on a vast knowledge base encompassing anthropology, material science, and even engineering. They compare the artifact to known tools and technologies from different cultures and periods. If the object is made from a specific material, they might consult with geologists to understand its natural distribution and potential sources. This comparative analysis helps them build a case for the artifact's origin and purpose, even if it remains outside the established timeline. Science can also shed light on the limitations of our current understanding. The discovery of complex surgical instruments in pre-dynastic Egypt, for example, challenged the notion that advanced medicine was a Roman innovation. Similarly, the intricate calendar system found in the ruins of Angkor Wat suggests a sophisticated understanding of astronomy in a civilization we previously considered primitive. These discoveries force us to rewrite history and acknowledge the ingenuity of past cultures. However, there are some mysteries that remain stubbornly unexplained. For instance, the Nazca lines in Peru, with their massive geoglyphs etched into the desert, continue to baffle scientists.
Eventually, he realizes a lot of these are forming geometric shapes. Kind of standard rectangles, spirals, squares, triangles. Some of them as big as a football field, to put it in perspective.
Their purpose, whether astronomical markers, religious symbols, or something entirely different, remains a matter of debate. Similarly, the Baghdad Battery, a clay jar containing a metal rod and a cylinder, has sparked speculation about ancient knowledge of electricity, a claim yet to be substantiated with scientific evidence. In the past century, there have been some specifically odd things found, and scientists just can't seem to put logic behind them. The curious case of the London Hammer. Nestled amidst the rolling hills of central Texas lies the unassuming town of London. In 1936, this quiet community became an unlikely player in a heated debate about human history and the very notion of what constitutes an artifact. The culprit, the London Hammer, an object that continues to spark controversy and raise questions about the established timeline of human existence. The story begins with Max Hahn and his wife, Emma, who stumbled upon a peculiar rock formation while on a hike along Red Creek. This seemingly ordinary rock held an extraordinary secret. Embedded within it was a curious protrusion, a piece of weathered wood. Intrigued, the Hahns took the rock home, where it remained untouched for over a decade. It wasn't until 1947 that their son, George, decided to crack open the rock with a hammer and chisel. To their astonishment, the rock yielded a complete iron-headed hammer, its wooden handle still firmly attached. News of the discovery spread like wildfire. The hammer, perfectly preserved despite its supposed age, defied conventional explanation. Geologists estimated the rock formation to be around 400 million years old, a period well before the emergence of humankind.
The hammer itself was found in the Travis Formation. It's a concretion of sandstone, and it usually takes about 140 million years for this to form. That would put it at 140 million years old.
Creationists immediately seized upon this anomaly, proclaiming it an out-of-place artifact, or an OU-part, a human-made object found in a geological context that shouldn't be possible according to mainstream science. The London Hammer became a mystery, its image plastered across creationist publications and websites. Proponents of this view argued that the hammer's existence shattered the theory of evolution and provided evidence for a literal interpretation of the Bible, where humans coexisted with dinosaurs. However, mainstream science offered a more grounded explanation. Experts pointed out that the rock encasing the hammer was likely a concretion, a mineral deposit that forms around an object over time. The iron head of the hammer, they argued, could have been lost by a 19th century miner and become naturally embedded in the rock formation through a process known as petrifaction. Additionally, the lack of proper documentation regarding the initial discovery and the context in which the hammer was found cast doubt on its authenticity as a genuine archaeological find. Radiocarbon dating, a technique that determines the age of organic materials, couldn't be applied to the London Hammer as it had no datable organic components. However, a closer examination of the hammer itself revealed inconsistencies. Unlike most genuine prehistoric tools, the iron head showed minimal signs of oxidation, leading some scientists to believe it was made from a more modern type of iron. Additionally, the overall design of the hammer strongly resembled commercially available mining hammers from the late 19th century. The debate surrounding the London Hammer highlights the complex relationship between scientific inquiry and fringe theories. While the object itself might not be a testament to an advanced pre-human civilization, its discovery serves as a reminder of the limitations of current knowledge. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the London Hammer lies not in its potential age, but in the story it tells about the human desire for answers and the tendency to interpret the unknown through the lens of our existing beliefs. The London Hammer currently resides in the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas, displayed as a testament to a bygone era. While the scientific community remains unconvinced of its out-of-place origin, the hammer continues to capture the imagination and fuel debate. But the London Hammer isn't the only character in the story of the unexplainable, a Victorian relic or a prehistoric puzzle. In 1852, a curious discovery reverberated through the scientific community of Massachusetts. During construction work on Meeting House Hill in Dorchester, a powerful blast used to break up rock yielded an unexpected treasure, the now famous Dorchester pot. This wasn't your average piece of broken pottery. Described as a bell-shaped metallic vase, it was found in two pieces, measuring roughly 4.5 inches tall with a base diameter of 6.5 inches. Its most striking feature was the intricate design. 6 figures of a flower or bouquet beautifully inlaid with pure silver, and around the lower part of the vessel a vine or wreath inlaid also with silver, as reported by the Boston Transcript. The true intrigue surrounding the Dorchester pot lies not in its appearance, but in the context of its discovery. The rock formation it was found embedded within, known as Roxbury Conglomerate, is estimated to be a staggering 570 to 593 million years old, a period far predating the existence of humankind. This discrepancy ignited a firestorm of debate and speculation. Archaeologists, for the most part, dismissed the pot's immense age. They argued that the blast used to break up the rock could have dislodged the pot from a shallower layer, burying it deeper within the formation. Additionally, the lack of a clear excavation record and the absence of other artifacts from the same period cast doubt on its authenticity as a genuine relic of the Ediacaran period. However, the unconventional explanation didn't quell the flames of controversy. Creationists and proponents of fringe theories seized upon the Dorchester pot as yet another oopart. They argued that such a sophisticated metalwork object with intricate designs couldn't have been created by any known civilization millions of years ago. This, they claimed, was evidence of a lost, advanced civilization that predated the rise of modern humans. The composition of the pot itself added fuel to the fire. Analysis revealed it to be an alloy of zinc and silver, a combination not typically associated with prehistoric metalworking. However, some scientists pointed out that similar alloys were used in Europe during the Victorian era, potentially casting doubt on the pot's immense age. So, what might the Dorchester pot actually be? The prevailing scientific theory is that it's a Victorian-era candlestick holder. This explanation aligns with the pot's material composition and the intricate floral design, a common motif in Victorian decorative arts. Additionally, the use of explosives during construction could explain how the pot became embedded deep within the rock formation. However, the mystery remains unsolved for some. The lack of a clear excavation record and the absence of similar artifacts from the same period leave room for speculation. Perhaps the pot was indeed a genuine artifact, but one that originated from a much later, yet still unknown, civilization. The Dorchester pot serves as a reminder of the limitations of current knowledge. While the scientific consensus leans towards a Victorian origin, the pot continues to fuel the imagination and inspire debate. It highlights the human desire to fill the gaps in our understanding of the past and the allure of a world where our current understanding of history might not be the whole picture. And we all know that this metaphoric picture is big, that the universe, with how vast it is, houses secrets we might never find the truth behind. The enigma of the Buckhannon Bell. In the crisp autumn of 1944, a seemingly ordinary chore in a Buckhannon, West Virginia home unearthed an extraordinary anomaly. 10-year-old Newton Richard Anderson was entrusted with the task of keeping the family's coal furnace stoked. As he tossed a lump of coal into the fiery maw, a loud crack echoed through the basement. The coal had broken in half. Revealing a peculiar sight nestled within the black rock was a small, intricately crafted bell. The bell, roughly 7 inches tall, was made of a brass alloy with traces of tin, arsenic, iodine, and selenium. The most baffling aspect, however, was its age. The coal it was found in is estimated to be around 300 million years old, formed during the Carboniferous period, a time when complex life forms on land were just beginning to emerge. This seemingly man-made object defied logic. How could a bell exist millions of years before the first humans walked the earth? News of the discovery spread like wildfire. The bell became a coveted item, attracting the attention of collectors, creationists, and scientists alike. Creationist groups saw it as irrefutable evidence of a pre-flood civilization, bolstering their literal interpretation of the Bible. Ripley's Believe It or Not expressed interest, and the bell was even featured in a 1992 CBS docudrama titled Ancient Secrets of the Bible. Scientific scrutiny, however, painted a different picture. Geologists pointed out that the bell could have entered the coal seam through a variety of natural processes. Perhaps a fissure or sinkhole allowed a later-era artifact to become lodged within the coal layers millions of years ago. Another theory proposed that the coal itself might have contained minerals that, under extreme pressure and heat, formed a bell-shaped concretion that resembled metal. The unusual composition of the bell further fueled the debate. While the main components were brass, aka copper, and zinc, the presence of other elements like arsenic and iodine was unexpected. Some creationist proponents claimed this was an unknown alloy, proof of an advanced, lost civilization. However, scientists countered that these elements could have been naturally incorporated into the metal over time. Later on, even Newton Anderson spent a great deal of time researching the figure on top of the bell. He discovered similarities to the Babylonian southwest wind demon, called Pazuzu. The demon typically is shown with a prominent headpiece like the bell figure. Indeed, the bell's headpiece clearly is broken off, signifying that it may have been quite a bit taller. The Hindu deity Garuda is sometimes depicted on top of bells, as is the Egyptian Isis. The kneeling posture with hands clasped is quite like Garuda representations. Because of this, some have argued that it must be an Indian Ghanta bell. But ancient religious worship seems to take on similar forms in various cultures. In an attempt to unravel the mystery, the Institute for Creation Research submitted the bell for analysis at the University of Oklahoma. Nuclear activation analysis revealed the specific percentages of the elements, information that wasn't widely publicized. This lack of transparency from the creationist group only deepened the skepticism of the scientific community. The story of the Buchanan Bell is a fascinating case study in the clash between scientific inquiry and faith-based interpretations. While the exact origins of the bell remain a mystery, the most likely explanation lies in a natural phenomenon rather than an advanced prehistoric civilization. However, the allure of the unexplained persists. The bell continues to be a source of fascination for those who believe it holds the key to a forgotten past. Perhaps future advancements in scientific analysis will provide a definitive answer, but for now, we can only theorize. The curious case of the Klerksdorp spheres. Unearthed from the ancient rock formations of South Africa, the Klerksdorp spheres have captivated curiosity and fueled speculation for decades. These odd objects, ranging from marbles to small discs, appear almost perfectly spherical and have sparked a debate that transcends scientific inquiry, venturing into the realm of the extraordinary. Discovered in the 1980s by miners working the Wonderstone Limited mine near Ottosdal, South Africa, the Klerksdorp spheres are found within 3-billion-year-old pyrophyllite deposits. This metamorphic rock, formed by the transformation of volcanic ash under high pressure and heat, is known to contain various mineral inclusions. However, the near-perfect sphericity and smooth surfaces of these objects set them apart from the usual geological oddities. The spheres themselves typically measure between 0.5 and 10 centimeters in diameter. They come in various shades of red and brown, reflecting their composition, primarily hematite consisting of iron oxide or wollastonite consisting of calcium silicate. Some spheres exhibit a well-defined radial structure or parallel grooves on their surfaces, further adding to their mystique. The scientific explanation for the Klerksdorp spheres is rooted in geology. Geologists believe they are concretions, naturally formed mineral nodules that develop within a rock matrix. Similar spherical concretions are found throughout the world, formed by the precipitation of minerals around a nucleus. In the case of the Klerksdorp spheres, iron-rich fluids likely circulated through cracks in the pyrophyllite, gradually building up layers of minerals to create the spherical shapes. The presence of grooves on some spheres could be attributed to weathering or the differential erosion of mineral layers with varying hardness. Researchers like Bruce Cairncross, Louis Nel, and Andrea Agangi studied round, metal-like objects in South African rocks. These spheres are actually iron sulfide, a common mineral, and have a yellowish-brown color. Cut in half, they reveal layers around a center. The rocks containing these spheres are called Wonderstone. Could these two be the same thing? However, the unusual characteristics of the Klerksdorp spheres have fueled a firestorm of fringe theories. Some proponents of creationism view them as evidence of a pre-Adamic civilization, arguing that such perfect spheres could not have formed naturally so far back in time. Others suggest they are extraterrestrial artifacts manufactured by an advanced alien race and somehow embedded within the rock millions of years ago. The internet, a breeding ground for speculation, has birthed even more outlandish claims. Some theories propose the spheres are a form of alien communication device. Others suggest they hold incredible energy sources. The lack of definitive proof regarding their origin has fueled the controversy. Proponents of the manufactured artifact theory point to the presence of the grooves as evidence of machining. However, geologists argue that these grooves could be a natural consequence of differential weathering or the crystallization process. Additionally, the composition of the spheres, common minerals found in the surrounding rock, does not support the idea of an advanced technology. Scientific analysis has largely debunked the alien artifact theory. X-ray diffraction and other techniques have confirmed the mineral composition of the spheres, aligning with the natural concretion explanation. However, the lack of widespread public knowledge about these analyses allows the mystery to persist online. The Klerksdorp spheres serve as a reminder of the human fascination with the unexplained. While science provides a compelling explanation for their origin, the allure of the extraordinary continues to capture the imagination. Future discoveries and advancements in analytical techniques might one day provide a definitive answer. The Antikythera mechanism. In the sapphire depths of the Aegean Sea, a shipwreck slumbered for over 2 millennia. But then, sometime in 1901, a secret was found. This shipwreck yielded an extraordinary artifact, the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek device that has been dubbed the world's first analog computer. The story of the Antikythera mechanism begins not with its unearthing, but with its tragic demise. In the 1st century BC, a Roman ship filled with treasures from the Hellenistic world sank near the Greek island of Antikythera. Among the cargo were intricately carved statues and a remarkable bronze contraption that would remain unseen for centuries. It wasn't until 1901 that sponge divers, salvaging the wreckage, stumbled upon a heavily corroded lump of metal. Initially dismissed as scrap, the true nature of the find was recognized a few years later. X-ray technology, still in its infancy, revealed a complex system of gears, dials, and inscriptions hidden within the corroded mass. This was the Antikythera mechanism. The initial understanding of the mechanism was limited. It was recognized as some sort of astronomical calculator, perhaps an elaborate astrolabe. However, the full complexity and purpose of the device remained shrouded in mystery for much of the 20th century. Deciphering the mechanism proved to be a formidable task. Years of painstaking research, employing advanced X-ray techniques, 3D scanning, and computer modeling gradually unveiled its secrets. The Antikythera mechanism was indeed an astronomical calculator, capable of predicting celestial phenomena with remarkable accuracy. The device, housed in a wooden box about the size of a shoebox, boasted a system of interlocking gears. These gears, driven by a hand crank, controlled several dials and pointers on the exterior. One dial displayed the zodiac, another tracked the phases of the moon, and yet another indicated the dates of important athletic games like the Olympics. The most sophisticated feature, however, was a mechanism that predicted eclipses, both solar and lunar decades in advance. The level of sophistication of the Antikythera mechanism is truly astonishing. It indicates a deep understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering for its time. The device could calculate the motions of the sun, moon, and even some planets, taking into account the irregularities of their orbits. This feat is even more impressive considering it predates the development of trigonometry by centuries. The complexity of the Antikythera mechanism has sparked a surge of interest in the technological advancements of the Hellenistic world. Previously, it was believed that such complexity wasn't achieved until the development of mechanical clocks in medieval Europe. The Antikythera mechanism suggests otherwise, forcing a re-evaluation of ancient Greek scientific and engineering prowess. However, the extraordinary nature of the device has also fueled some unconventional theories. Internet forums and fringe websites are filled with speculation about the Antikythera mechanism's true origins. Some claim it is evidence of a lost civilization with advanced knowledge, while others propose an extraterrestrial connection. These theories, however, lack credible evidence. Scientific analysis points towards the device being a product of Hellenistic ingenuity. The inscriptions on the mechanism are written in ancient Greek, and the astronomical models employed are consistent with what is known about Greek astronomy. Despite the growing understanding of the Antikythera mechanism, some mysteries remain. The full functionality of the device is still being debated, with some features yet to be definitively explained. Additionally, the question of whether the Antikythera mechanism was a unique invention or part of a larger tradition of such instruments remains unanswered. The Antikythera mechanism serves as a potent reminder of the human capacity for innovation. While the internet may be rife with fantastical theories, scientific analysis provides a compelling narrative, a story of human ingenuity and the tireless pursuit of understanding the cosmos. The Dropa Stones, an archaeological hoax? Finally, nestled amongst the myths and legends surrounding ancient civilizations, the Dropa Stones stand out as a particularly captivating yet highly dubious archaeological anomaly. Emerging from the murky waters of the 1960s, these supposed discs, inscribed with an unknown script and linked to an extraterrestrial visitation, have ignited the imaginations of conspiracy theorists and UFO enthusiasts for decades. However, a closer examination reveals a story more likely rooted in fantasy than fact. The legend of the Dropa Stones begins with Professor Chi-Pu Tei, a supposedly prominent Chinese archaeologist. In 1938, Tei is said to have led an expedition into the remote Bayan Ha Mountains on the border between China and Tibet. There, within a network of caves, his team allegedly stumbled upon a series of unmarked graves containing the skeletal remains of unusually short humanoids with enlarged skulls. More importantly, the graves also yielded a collection of 716 circular discs, ranging from 3 to 12 inches in diameter. These discs, crafted from a mysterious, hard, black stone, were said to be inscribed with a series of groove-like hieroglyphs spiraling outwards from a central hole. Tei, with the help of a fictitious Tibetan scholar named Sum Nui, supposedly deciphered the inscription as an account of a spaceship crash landing in the region some 12,000 years ago. The inscription allegedly detailed the arrival of extraterrestrials from the Sirius star system, their struggle to adapt to Earth's environment, and a subsequent war with a human tribe. The story, however, unravels upon closer inspection. Extensive research has failed to unearth any credible evidence of Professor Chi-Pu Tei or Sum Nui existing within the Chinese archaeological community. Furthermore, no museum in the world has ever displayed a Dropa stone, The very notion of a secret Chinese archaeological discovery of such magnitude remaining hidden from public scrutiny strains credulity. The scientific community overwhelmingly views the Dropa stones as a hoax. The lack of verifiable evidence, coupled with the fantastical nature of the story, leaves little room for genuine extraterrestrial contact. Geologists think that the supposed disks might be naturally formed concretions or even bi-disks, traditional Chinese jade disks with central holes. The inscription, if it exists at all, could be nothing more than random markings or weathering patterns misinterpreted as a language. Despite the lack of scientific backing, the Dropa stones continue to hold a certain allure in the realm of fringe science and conspiracy theories. The internet teems with speculation about the stones, often amplifying the original narrative. Some theories propose the Dropa were an advanced race of beings who used genetic manipulation on early humans, leading to the diversity of human appearance. Others suggest the stones are gateways to communication with extraterrestrial intelligence. These claims, however, lack any grounding in scientific evidence and often rely on misinterpretations or distortions of the original, already dubious story. The burden of proof lies with those promoting the extraterrestrial connection, and no such proof has been forthcoming. The Dropa stones serve as a cautionary tale about the allure of sensational claims and the ease with which misinformation can spread in the digital age. The human race has a knack for leaving behind head-scratching clues throughout history. What do you think is the most puzzling archaeological mystery out there? Share your theories in the comments. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed this deep dive, and hit that subscribe button for more explorations into the unexplained. Keep a lookout for our next videos.